Chosen one, you have been praying faithfully, honestly, often alone in seasons that gave you nothing visible in return. In the quiet of your car, at 2 in the morning when the house was still and the weight of everything you carry was too heavy to explain to anyone. And somewhere along the way, the prayers got quieter. Not because your faith failed, but because hope is exhausting when it is sustained over years. Feel that quiet tightening right now, that stillness that is not emptiness, but something closer to presence. That is not dread, that is recognition. Your body knows before your mind catches up. Some part of you already senses that this moment is different, that what is arriving here is not more of the same encouragement you have been handed before. God has been speaking all your life, but He has never said this before. Before I go any further, I want to tell you what you will walk away with by the time this message ends. You will understand why the silence you have been living in was never absence. You will know the word God has been holding, the specific, unprecedented declaration He is releasing over your life in this season. And you will have something real and grounded to anchor it so it does not disappear by tomorrow morning. Stay through to the end. What is coming will not just encourage you, it will rearrange how you understand your own story. This moment was not random. Something greater than chance arranged it. And what I am about to share with you was not prepared for a general audience. It arrived the way all true things arrive, quietly, at the edge of everything you thought you already understood. Now, let us begin with something most people have completely wrong. The silence was not absence. I know how it felt. I know the specific texture of that kind of silence, the kind that is not peaceful, not restful, but heavy. The kind that shows up when you have prayed the same prayer for so long that you can barely hear your own voice anymore. The kind that watches other people receive what looks like miracles and movements and divine appointments while you remain exactly where you were 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago. And in that silence, a story begins to form. It is quiet and it is stubborn, and it says things like, maybe God moves for other people, but not for me. Maybe I am doing something wrong. Maybe I am simply not the kind of person this happens to. That story is a lie. And today, it ends. Because here is what was actually happening in every season that looked like nothing. God was not ignoring you. God was building you. And those are not the same thing at all. There is a principle that runs through gold, real gold, the kind that gets placed in fire. The fire does not destroy it. The fire removes everything that was never gold in the first place. And the hotter the fire, and the longer the refinement, the purer what comes out. You cannot rush this. You cannot skip it. And while the gold is in the fire, from the outside, it does not look like anything special is happening. It just looks like heat. You have been in the fire. And what the fire was doing, what each silent season, each unanswered question, each door that closed without explanation was doing, was removing what was never you, stripping away the noise so that what is truly yours could become visible, not to other people, to you, and to God, who was shaping the vessel He knew He would one day need. Let me show you 5 things that were happening while it looked like nothing was moving, and I want you to notice if any of these land somewhere inside you. The first one is this. The doors that closed on you were not rejection, they were redirection. There were things you were pursuing, relationships, opportunities, paths that looked right from where you were standing, but God could see around the corner. And what was waiting on the other side of some of those doors was not what you were built for. So instead of letting you walk into something that would cost you years, He closed it. That felt like loss. It was actually mercy. The second, the relationships that ended without clean explanations were not failures. They were completions. There are people who come into your life to carry you through a specific season, and when that season ends, so does their role. It does not mean the relationship was wrong. It means it was finished. And finished is not the same as failed. The third, that restlessness. You have felt for so long the sense that you are made for something you cannot yet name. That was not anxiety. That was your assignment stirring before it arrived. When something inside you is being called into existence, it makes you uncomfortable in the life you are currently living. Not because your life is wrong, but because your spirit already knows it is expanding. The fourth, the dreams you have had, the impressions that arrived in the middle of ordinary moments, the ideas that felt too large for your life as it currently looks. Those were not wishful thinking, those were previews. The way a trailer comes before the film, what God placed in you as vision was always meant to arrive as reality. The timeline just does not look like what you expected. And the fifth, and this one matters most, that deep, quiet, stubborn knowing that something is coming. That sense you have carried, sometimes for years, that you are standing on the edge of something you cannot yet see. That is not hope you manufactured for yourself to survive the waiting. That is God inside you, recognizing God outside you. It is the frequency of what He has already spoken meeting the frequency of what He is now about to release. You were not imagining it. Moses stood in a field he had stood in 1,000 times before. Same desert, same silence, same flat horizon in every direction. 40 years had made him familiar with ordinariness, with being someone who had once seemed significant and had quietly accepted that perhaps that chapter was closed. He was not expecting anything that morning. He was just doing what he always did. And then a bush caught fire. Not the field, not the sky, one bush, and it did not burn down. God spoke from it, not the way He had spoken to the generations before. Something new, something unprecedented, a commission that required every single day of those 40 wilderness years to be receivable. A word that Moses at 25 could not have carried. A word that required the man who had been stripped of palace privilege, stripped of his own agenda, stripped of every version of himself that thought he already knew how to do this. The word required that man, the one standing in the field with nothing left to prove. What God said from that fire had never been said before, because the Moses who could receive it had never existed before that moment. I tell you this because that same God, the one who waits until the exact right moment to release something unprecedented, is speaking right now, not from a burning bush, but into this moment, into your life, into the wilderness you may have made peace with, the ordinariness you may have settled into. Something is on fire, and it will not burn down. Now here is where it becomes personal, because the reason God waited this long to say what He is about to say is not a mystery. It is a pattern. And the pattern is this: He does not send unprecedented words to unprepared people. He builds the person first. He forms the vessel. And what He builds you into specifically is directly connected to what He intends to place in you. You were not formed in a general way. You were formed specifically. There are things the wilderness took from you. Versions of yourself that had to be surrendered along the way. The version of you that needed external validation to move forward that had to go. Because where you are being called, you will not always have applause. The version of you that measured your progress by how far ahead other people seemed, that had to go too. Because your timeline was never their timeline. It was always its own. The version of you that believed your gifts were too specific, too quiet, too far outside the mainstream to matter at any real scale. That version had to be broken open because it was the last wall standing between you and your actual assignment. This is not failure. This is excavation. God was not punishing you in those seasons. He was removing what was never you. He was digging down to the foundation of who you actually are. And what He found there, underneath all of it, was something rare. Something the world does not have enough of. Let me tell you what He found. He found a seer. Someone who notices what others walk past. Someone who picks up on patterns before they become obvious, who has always had a quiet sense of knowing about people, about situations, about what is really happening beneath the surface. You have not always trusted that, but it was always real. That is not ordinary intuition. That is a gift deliberately placed inside you because God knew exactly where you were going. He found a voice, not necessarily a loud one. Some voices are quiet and they still carry further than anything shouted. A voice that speaks what other people feel but cannot articulate. A voice that, when it finally does speak, lands with a weight that people feel in their chest without knowing why. You may have been told to soften it, to be more careful, but the voice was given for a reason, and the season ahead will need it. He found a truth carrier, someone who cannot live inauthentically without it costing them everything, someone who senses falseness immediately and cannot participate in it, even when participation would be easier. This is not rigidity, this is assignment. The world is full of comfortable untruths. Truth carriers are rare, and God does not waste rare things on small purposes. He found a light bearer, not someone who makes noise to be seen, but someone who changes the atmosphere of a room simply by entering it. Someone whose presence shifts something in the people around them, not through performance, but through simply being. You may not have recognized this in yourself, but the people who have spent real time with you have felt it. These are not compliments, these are descriptions of what God shaped in the fire. Now there is something I want to share with you here, because it connects directly to everything we have been talking about. There is real scientific research coming out of institutions like Harvard, Stanford, and MIT that maps what happens inside the brain during states of deep clarity, intuition, and what many people describe as spiritual receptivity. Neuroscientist Dr. Robert Lake, with 34 years of work in this field, documented what he calls the God-given brainwave, the gamma frequency. This is the same state children operate in naturally before the weight of modern life begins to suppress it. It is the state associated with accelerated understanding, deep intuition, and what many people describe as sudden knowing, that sense that something arrived in you fully formed, from somewhere beyond your own thinking. What researchers found is that this frequency does not disappear as we grow older. It goes dormant, suppressed not by choice, but by the accumulated pressure of stress and distraction, what Dr. Lake calls the decline effect, a measurable reduction in gamma activity that begins around age 7 and continues through adulthood. This matters because the seer in you, the voice, the truth carrier, these gifts do not operate at their full capacity in a brain that has been running on a suppressed frequency for years. God built the receiver, but the receiver needs to be tuned. Dr. Lake developed a 7-minute audio track that uses brain entrainment technology to help the brain return to its natural gamma state. Not as a replacement for prayer or faith, but as a practical support for someone who is serious about operating at the level God actually built them for. You put on headphones, you listen for 7 minutes, and you allow the technology to do what it was designed to do. It is not complicated. It does not require anything of you except stillness and a willingness to receive. This is not a miracle product, it is a tool. And, like all tools, it serves what you are already building toward. For anyone who feels called to explore this, I have placed the only trusted link in the description and pinned comment of this message. I would caution against searching for it elsewhere. There are imitations circulating that do not carry the actual entrainment technology and will not produce the same result. But the brain is only the receiver. What God places into that receiver, that is what this message is truly about. And what He is placing into it right now is something He has never said before. We have covered the silence that was never absence. We have walked through the excavation that was actually formation. We have named the specific gifts that God shaped in you through every season you survived. Now, in the second part of this message, we are going to face the one thing that has come very close to blocking all of it. The one internal pattern that, more than anything else, stands between a chosen one and the word God is releasing over their life. And then, we are going to arrive at the moment this entire message has been building toward, what the unprecedented word actually is. what it means for your relationships, your purpose, and your provision, and what you do concretely, practically the moment you hear it. Stay with me. What comes next is the reason this message exists. Chosen one. There is something I need to say before we go any further, and I want to say it carefully, because it is one of those things that sounds simple on the surface, but changes everything when you actually hear it. There is a reason some people receive what God is releasing, and others do not. Not because God loves some more than others, not because some are more spiritual, more disciplined, more deserving. The reason is quieter than that, and it lives much closer to home. There is a belief deep, often invisible even to the person carrying it, that says, "This is not for me." It does not announce itself. It does not show up as open doubt or declared unbelief. It shows up as deflection. It shows up as the instinct, when something remarkable begins to happen, to immediately find a reason why it cannot be real. It shows up as the pattern of saying yes to the general and immediately retreating from the specific. Yes, God loves people. Yes, God moves in miraculous ways. Yes, God has a purpose for human beings in this world. But then, when the message turns personal, when the word begins to describe you, something contracts, something whispers, "He must mean someone else." I need to name this clearly. That is not humility. That is a ceiling. And it functions like one. Because a ceiling does not stop you from growing, it just stops you from growing past a certain point. You can have deep faith and still carry this belief. You can have years of spiritual practice and still carry this belief. You can have genuine love for God and still carry this belief. And what it does, quietly and consistently, is redirect every word, every sign, every confirmation away from you. Because somewhere underneath everything, you do not believe you are the kind of person an unprecedented divine message would be sent to. Let me show you how this actually works. Because the mechanism matters. When God says, "I have never said this before," unworthiness hears, then it cannot be for someone like me. When a door opens that looks like the one you have been waiting for, unworthiness says, "There must be a mistake." When something finally arrives that matches what you have been praying for, unworthiness says, "Do not celebrate yet. It will probably fall apart." And in this way, a person can be standing right in the middle of their breakthrough and be the last one in the room to know it. This is not a character flaw. This is a strategic interference with your assignment. And the reason it is strategic is because what is on the other side of this belief is significant. If you were not carrying something the world needed, no one would bother constructing a wall around it. David was anointed long before he was crowned. Samuel came to the house of Jesse and asked to see his sons. Jesse brought them out one by one, the impressive ones, the strong ones, the ones who looked like kings. And God said no to every single one. Jesse did not even think to call David. He left him in the field with the sheep, not because David was unimportant, because Jesse did not yet have eyes to see what God had already decided. And Samuel said, "Are these all your sons?" And Jesse said, "There is the youngest, but he is just the shepherd, just the shepherd." God spoke something over David that day that he had never spoken over anyone in that way before. "A man after my own heart." That was not a compliment. That was an assignment. That was an unprecedented declaration that would shape the entire trajectory of the man's life and the history of a nation. But between that anointing and the throne, there were years. Years of being hunted. Years of hiding in caves. Years of watching the king he was destined to replace make one destructive choice after another, while David waited and refused to take what had been promised to him by force. Years that, from the outside, looked like his story had stalled. Years that, on the inside, were forming the specific character required to carry what had been spoken. Here is what I want you to understand. The word God spoke over David could not be fully received until David had become the man capable of holding it without being destroyed by it. The anointing came early. The formation came after, and both were necessary. You have received the anointing. The formation has been happening. And what God has never said before is not a word. He is still deciding. It is a word He has already spoken, and you are only now the version of yourself capable of receiving it without shrinking from it, without deflecting it, without sending it back, because some part of you does not believe it belongs to you. It belongs to you. So here is the invitation, right now, in this moment. Not an exercise, not a complicated practice. Just this: let one thing go. The belief that this message is for someone more qualified, more prepared, more worthy than you. You do not have to argue it away. You do not have to feel certain. Just release the grip. Breathe, and let what is arriving arrive. Because what I am about to say is not a general encouragement. It is a declaration, and it is time. God has never said this before. Not to you, not at this point in your journey, not with this specific combination of formation, refinement, and readiness assembled in one person, in one moment, in one chapter of a story that has been building for years, without you fully knowing what it was building toward. And what He is saying, what the unprecedented word is this: the waiting season is complete. Not almost complete, not nearly done. Complete. I want you to feel the weight of that, because most chosen ones who hear it will immediately want to argue. They will say, but nothing has changed yet. But the circumstances still look the same. But I have not seen the evidence. And to that, I want to say something very directly. The declaration precedes the evidence. It always has. That is not a motivational statement. That is the pattern. God spoke over the void before the light appeared. He declared the end of Egypt before Moses had taken a single step toward Pharaoh. He anointed David before a single battle had been won. The word comes first. The evidence follows the one who walks in it. The waiting season is complete, and God is not asking you to hold on a little longer. He is asking you to step forward. This is the first part of what He has never said. Not, keep enduring, but, begin moving. Not, the breakthrough is coming, but, you are already in it. The second part of what He has never said is this: you are not in preparation, you are in position. There is a difference, and it is vast. A person in preparation is waiting to become ready. A person in position is already where they need to be, doing what they need to be doing, and the resources, the connections, the open doors are moving toward them because they are already in the right place. You have been thinking of yourself as someone who is still getting ready. God sees someone who is already positioned. The shift that needs to happen is not external. It is in how you see yourself. Because what you believe about your position determines how you move. And how you move determines what finds you. The third part, and this is the one I want you to hold most carefully, is this: what the fire took from you is being returned, not simply restored, multiplied. The years that felt like loss, the time that felt wasted, the relationships that ended, the opportunities that did not come through, the seasons that stretched longer than they should have. None of it was subtracted from your story without something being added. And what is being added now is not just what you lost, it is what you were always meant to carry. Your relationships are reorganizing. The right people, not just helpful people, not just kind people, but the ones whose assignment is specifically intertwined with yours, they are finding their way toward you. And when they arrive, something in you will recognize them, not because you figured it out, because you were built for this. Your purpose is crystallizing. The clarity that has been building quietly in you, the sense of direction that has arrived in fragments over many years, it is becoming something you can hold, something you can speak, something you can move in with intention rather than just instinct. And your provision is aligning itself to your assignment. What you need for what you are being called to will not require you to manufacture it. It will follow the mission. Because God does not call without equipping, and what He is calling you into right now is something he has already made provision for. The gold is out of the fire, and it is being poured into its purpose. Now, what do you do with this? Because this is where so many chosen ones lose it. They receive a word like this, genuine, true, arriving at the exact right moment, and within 48 hours they are back in the same patterns, operating from the same smallness, treating the word as a feeling they had rather than a truth they carry. The word God speaks requires a corresponding declaration from you, not to convince him. He is already convinced. The declaration is for you. It is the act of anchoring what has been spoken so deeply into your daily reality that the old story no longer has room to grow back. There are 3 things I want to give you to do with this. The first, release the old timeline. Stop measuring your progress by when you thought it should have happened. The fact that things did not unfold according to the schedule you had in mind is not evidence that something went wrong. It is evidence that something far more precise was happening than what you could have planned. Your timeline is not late, it is exact. The second, move toward the thing you have been postponing. You know what it is. There is something, a conversation, a decision, a first step towards something you have been circling for months or years that you have been waiting to feel more ready for. You are ready now. Not because everything is in place, but because you are in position, and position is what matters more than conditions. The third, pay attention differently from this point forward. The connections that are arriving, the ideas that are landing, the doors that are beginning to open, do not dismiss them as coincidence. Do not manage them down with skepticism. What is moving toward you right now is not random, it is confirmation. And the chosen one who recognizes confirmation for what it is will move with it. The one who does not will wait for a certainty that was never the requirement. Now, I want to do something I do not take lightly. I want to speak directly to who you are, not who you were, not who you are becoming. Who you are, chosen one, seer, voice, truth carrier, light bearer. What I am about to declare over you is not something I take lightly, and I ask you to receive it not as inspiration but as truth. The season of silent formation is finished. The excavation is complete. The vessel God has been shaping through everything you have been through every fire, every silence, every closed door, every season that asked more of you than you felt you had left to give, that vessel is ready. And it is not empty. It carries something. You carry sight that people around you do not have. You carry a voice that was built for a specific moment that has not yet fully arrived, but is arriving. You carry a commitment to truth in a world that is drowning in comfortable lies. You carry a light that does not need permission to shine, does not need an audience to be real, and does not extinguish simply because the circumstances are dark. In fact, it is brightest in the dark. God did not build all of this for it to remain hidden. He did not put a seer through 40 years of wilderness so they could stay in the field with the sheep. He did not form a voice through silence so they could remain silent. He did not refine a truth carrier in fire so they could spend their life in hiding. What he has never said before and is saying now is, it is time, not someday. Not when you are more ready, more visible, more confident, more certain. Now, with what you already are, with what the fire has already made you, with the gifts that have been tested and found to be real, with the calling that was spoken over you before you had language for it. It is time. So before you go, before you carry this into whatever ordinary Tuesday is waiting for you, on the other side of this message, I want to pray something over you. Not a general prayer, a specific one. Father, I bring before you this chosen one, the seer, the voice, the truth carrier, the light bearer who came to this moment having carried more than most people will ever know, who has been faithful in seasons that gave nothing visible in return, who has stayed when leaving would have been easier, who has believed when doubt would have been more comfortable, who has kept the fire alive inside them even when the outside world went quiet. I declare over this life that the waiting season is complete. I declare that the assignment is real, and that it is already in motion. I declare that what was taken in the fire is being returned multiplied, that the relationships coming are the right ones, that the clarity arriving is not imagined, that the provision following the calling is already on its way. I declare that the word spoken over this chosen one today is not a feeling that will fade with the week. It is a truth that was true before it was spoken, and what God has said, He does not unsay. And I declare over every version of unworthiness that has sat on this person's shoulders and tried to convince them that this message was meant for someone else, that its time is over. You have no authority here, not anymore. The one standing here has been through the fire. They are not the same person who entered it, and they are not going back. Moses stood in a field he had walked through 1,000 times. He was not looking for anything. He was just living the ordinary life he had made peace with. The bush was already burning before he turned to look. God was already speaking before Moses knew to listen. The fire that changed everything was already there, waiting for the moment Moses turned toward it. You have turned. That turning is everything. Go now. You are not the person who arrived at the beginning of this message, and the world you are walking back into it does not yet know what is coming, but it will.